Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host Keith Weissat, licensed clinical social worker with Tabor Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, so welcome back to the program. Always glad to get updates. Love to get updates going on with Tabor Parish Sheriff's Office. Welcome back. First Lieutenant Blake Tabor, thanks for joining us, Blake.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so listen, it's one of those things where we go through the holidays and there's a lot of information, but you guys have so much background work to do. It's nice to be able to hear about when we get somebody who's been that we've been looking for and we get them captured. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Malik Nash.
Yeah, so we learned that on December 14th that Mr. Nash was located in Akron, Ohio by the U.S. Deputy Marshal's Office. He obviously was a wanted fugitive from this area in reference to an October homicide that happened in the Gibson area. So when we were contacted, we were very excited and pleased that that occurred. So, you know, stemming from that, it starts a long extradition process.
Right.
A lot of people are not aware of that. It's not as simple as, oh, hey, we got the guy who has warrants for you, and so come and get him. It's not quite that simple.
Right. And here's a picture of Mr. Nash from Malik Nash Sr. Through the Tabor Parish Sheriff's Office. And again, you know, they make it always important that you know that people are innocent until proven guilty. But it was the tremendous work with Tabor Parish Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshal's Office.
Absolutely.
Right?
It was a collaboration, you know, and we term that as public safety partners. I will tell you that the United States Marshal's Office is extremely good at what they do. They typically always get the person that they're looking for. It may take some time,
Right.
But they have provided us a lot of resources to locate Mr. Nash that we just were not afforded the opportunity to do.
Yeah, and they, you know, fortunately they can do that all over the U.S. and just
Absolutely.
great communication about being able to find somebody. Because quite frankly, when you have somebody that's wanted for a homicide like that, you want to get them off the street.
Absolutely.
And everybody in law enforcement wants to get them off the street. And it's just the work that needs to be done. But again, that takes some time. That takes a great deal of investigation. And more importantly, you want to make sure that all of those T's are crossed and all those I's are dotted, because we want to make sure that there's transparency and make sure that people are held accountable for whatever it is they did or did not do, and again, proven in a court of law.
Absolutely. And, you know, in this particular case, I mean, it was December 14th that he was apprehended. He was actually brought back to Terrebonne Parish on December 21st. But kind of going off of what you just said, you know, there's a lot of investigation that had to be compiled and completed once we had him in custody. There were some interviews that took place.
Right.
So we just wanted to make sure that we were doing our due diligence to make sure that everything was in place before we released that information.
And doing that through the holiday season makes that a little bit difficult as well.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure that there's great communication for those people who did what, and make sure that that's all done and documented well. So thank y'all for taking the time to do that and being able to report this. So in custody and awaiting the process that will take place from there with him.
Absolutely.
And there's only one way to be able to do that, and that's with making sure that we honor all of the great work that's done. And we're so very appreciative for all of the people that work in law enforcement, all the people that work as public officials with that. But let's talk a little bit about some of those people. Y'all had y'all celebration middle of December, and a lot of people were honored.
We did. So every year we have an annual Christmas party and award ceremony where, you know, several officers throughout the agency are selected by their supervisors as deputies of the year. And so, you know, it's always a time that we look forward to. So this year, what took place on December 16th, it was a great event, huge success, probably one of the biggest turnouts that I'd seen in recent years. So I think, you know, a lot of people are excited about what's happening in the sheriff's office. So I'd just like to mention some of these names. And I'd like to start off with First Lieutenant Chris Geis. So Chris Geis is, number one, a spectacular person, him and his wife, Laura.
Okay.
He has worked in multiple divisions throughout the sheriff's office, and he's currently involved in fleet and maintenance.
Okay.
So what's important about Chris this year was the fact that the sheriff had a vision of creating what he coined as the Sheriff's Office Polar Express.
Right.
And he wanted to recreate a train-type mechanism that could be used to actually give the kids an opportunity to ride around. And Chris created a train that's the Polar Express by hand.
He built it
by hand, welded it, created it, brought
Wow.
Sheriff Saulnier's vision to life. And it was pretty amazing to see. And what was great about it, it wasn't just enjoyed by the kids. There were a lot of workers and a lot of adults that jumped on that thing. So
Kids
it
of
was,
all ages, right?
absolutely, it was a fantastic situation. But some of the others that received, so First Lieutenant Chris Geis was Deputy of the Year in Fleet and Maintenance Division. First Lieutenant Jacob Fonseca was the Deputy of the Year for the Transitional Work Release Program, which again is a very innovative program that we're up and coming with.
Right.
Sergeant Carl Beard was the Corrections Division Deputy of the Year. Lieutenant Melisa Prosperi from the Human Resources Division. Deputy Kelly Baskell from the Civil Department Division. Sergeant Brandon Terrio from the School Resource Officer Division. Corporal Melissa Claymont from the Communications Division. Sergeant Jerica Patrick from the Detective Investigative Division. Senior Deputy Gareth Leday from the K-9 Division. Sergeant Katie Prestonback from the Warrants Division. And last but certainly not least, Agent Nick Cortez from the Narcotics Division.
Yeah, and so again, I love the fact that our Tabor Parish Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Tim Saulnier find very unique and very appropriate ways to celebrate the hard work that's done. And we can't do it without them. So congratulations to all of them. I love the fact that you guys find ways to celebrate each other, celebrate what all of your team has done and those accolades. But how about those people that have spent years dedicating themselves to both your department and the community?
Absolutely. So, that's another facet of the people that within our agency are recognized every year. And so I'd like to just talk about a few of them. First is Captain Cher Petrie, who was honored and recognized for 30 years of service to the Sheriff's Office and community.
Yeah.
That particular award was accepted on her behalf by her sons, Mark and Cole Petrie, at the event, which was pretty special. Mark is in the military and was visiting, and Cole is a new and up-and-coming great young man. So
Right. That's awesome.
It was awesome to see them.
Yep.
Also, Major Brent Hidalgo was recognized for 30 years of service. Captain Mitch Dupre was recognized for 30 years of service. Lieutenant Melisia Prosperi was recognized for 30 years of service. Lieutenant Jerry Bageron was recognized for 30 years of service. Lieutenant Laura Geis was recognized for 20 years of service, who also happens to be the wife of First Lieutenant Chris Geis.
Right.
First Lieutenant Jamie Trahan was recognized for 20 years of service. Lieutenant Cody Knobloch, 20 years of service. Lieutenant Ronald McKay, 20 years of service. Lieutenant Trish Mouton, 20 years of service. Captain Russell Madair, 20 years of service. Lieutenant Dwayne Abair, 20 years of service. And First Lieutenant Dudley Odemall for 20 years of service.
Yeah, and congratulations to those guys, 20 and 30 years.
It's a long time to be in law enforcement.
It really is. It really is. And then we have some of those people that have said, you know what, I've reached that pinnacle and that transition time. Let's maybe give credit and honor to some of them.
They have achieved the ultimate goal, as we call it.
Right.
First would be Lieutenant Keith Fall. He ultimately retired this year with 33 years of service.
Wow.
And I'd like to point out that he still remains at our office, assisting our patrol division in a part-time capacity.
Wow.
So that is someone that truly has a love for law enforcement.
33 years. And yeah, let me just keep working to help you guys out
Absolutely.
part-time.
Deputy Rayetta Robertson Thompson, who's retired after 32 years of service.
Wow.
Lieutenant Aaron Abair, who is retired after 30 years of service. Lieutenant David Dupre, who's retired after 24 years of service. Sergeant Celeste Jackson, who is retired after 20 years of service. Deputy Royce Pellegrin, who is retired after 27 years of service. Sergeant Debbie Mazog, who's retired after 22 years of service. And Lieutenant Doug Chauvin, who also retired from service this year.
Right. And so, look, a lot of those people I've known for years. I grew up with Doug and his family. I went to college with Brent. And just getting to know those people over the years and just respecting what they've done. And so congratulations to
Absolutely.
them in their retirement. And while they go off to do retirement, you and I kind of make sure that we're looking forward to good things in 2023. And look, when the calendar turns, there's a lot of people that start looking at Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's really interesting, I think, coming out of these very limited COVID and Ida impacted Mardi Gras years. I think this year people are going to be most excited about Mardi Gras. Let's talk about some of the things that people need to think about in staying safe.
Well, and I think in 2023, this is a fresh new perspective on what's happening in Mardi Gras, right? Like you mentioned Ida and COVID. This is our first year that we weren't impacted by anything of true note. So, we always are concerned with the safety that happens in our parish. We know that people like to get a jump start on these things. So, again, it goes back to drinking responsibly, making sure that you're staying out of the roads, keeping the children out of the roads. As we know, that majority of that route is not barricaded.
Right.
And I think we talk every year about extending those barricades and doing those things. And where those talks are right now, I don't know. But ensuring your safety. We want everybody to have a good time. The general consensus is that law enforcement doesn't like Mardi Gras and this is just a big chore. It's actually quite the opposite.
Right.
It gives us an opportunity to get out and speak to people in a way that we can't really interact with the public or don't have a chance to interact with the public. So don't automatically assume that we're not having a good time if we're not smiling, right? It's just a lot to deal with. And I don't know if people really understand the importance of why we want people to be safe.
Well, and quite frankly, you take it seriously, a very
Absolutely.
important celebratory event that you take seriously. We want the public to do the same thing.
Yep.
If you've got kids out there, and that's what we want to celebrate and enjoy Mardi Gras for and with, let's make sure we have a good plan for them. Sure. Let's make sure we're ensuring their safety. And let's make sure that we're not spending more time thinking about ourselves and our partying or drinking and forgetting about the kids and their safety needs.
Absolutely. And, and this is something that brings a lot of people to our parish.
Yes.
Right? And it brings a lot of enjoyment, not only to our parish, but it's part of our culture. And we want that to remain the case. It's simple things like if someone doesn't throw you the bead that you want, it doesn't give you the right to throw a bead back at them. These Mardi Gras riders spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of dedication to bring enjoyment to the people of this parish and people that are not of this parish. So take some opportunity, some compassion, give them a little respect.
Yeah, let's see our human side.
Absolutely.
This Mardi Gras, and let us all enjoy that. And so, Blake, I always appreciate you coming on and the hard work that y'all do, apprehending people that are at large that need to be found. And so we appreciate that. Congratulating all those people that have outstanding honors through Tabor Parish Sheriff's Office, those people who have retired, and what y'all do every day to make sure that this community is safer and quite frankly, able to enjoy where we live. So thank you
Thank you
and
very
all your
much.
team there.
And look, and we've always said that, this isn't just a job for us. This is a calling. And we do this because we want to. We don't do it for the money. It's what we want to be here for.
Well, we're thankful and appreciative. And that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou Time when we continue.